Hi, I'm Reggie with Back to Natives Restoration. We're here at Susanna Bixby Bryant Ranch Museum and Botanic Gardens in Rio Belinda, the original location of the Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Gardens before they moved to Claremont. Today we're going to demonstrate how to maintain your deer grass or bunch grasses here in Southern California. A lot of people are used to non-native ornamental grasses where they cut them down like a flat top and it invigorates them and they come back. With our native bunch grasses, they don't do that. They're seasonal grasses that grow in a certain time of year. And so if you cut them off in a flat top to take this type of volume out, then unfortunately what you have is you have that grass as a flat top now until the next season it will grow. For instance, deer grass, where it's just starting now to send up flower stalks, it would stay like that until this time next year. If it was purple 3-on, it would stay like that from spring until spring, because late spring is when it starts to grow. And Coast Range Melic, it grows in winter time. So you want to be aware of the seasonal patterns of the plants that you're maintaining, but also you want to know about the specific plant itself. And with this plant, what we're going to do for maintaining it is, if you have a good shot of how thick and full it is right now, a lot of this is actually dead material. You have the old flower stalks, the old leaf fronds from last year, but you also have a lot of new growth coming up. So you want to leave the new growth in place and take off the dead volume so that you have a freshened and lively, beautified area, but also you have a reduced mass of the plant itself. That way you remove the dead material off, removes the idea of a fire hazard kind of thing, but also it refreshes the area of this beautiful bunch grass. So this is deer grass. It gets 3 to 5 feet wide by 3 to 5 feet tall, but you can reduce this by almost half. As you can see by the grass beside us that our Director of Education, Lori Whalen, has already raked. We'll do the same thing with this one here. And the only two tools we need are our gloves, if you want to wear them, and a hard landscape rake. This is the landscape rake that we'll be using for this. The hard rake is so that you can actually pull it. A soft rake, you're only going to be tickling it. So you want to start at the base and pull up like you're combing hair. You can see how much material you pull up. Do it nice and hard, because otherwise you're not going to get all of the material. And of course you don't want to do this in a freshly planted bunch grass, because you will no longer have that bunch grass in the ground. So I was reminded by our Director of Education that to remind everybody that we're talking to right now, that make sure that it's a seasoned grass that you are raking like this, or you will pull it up out of the ground. So in other words, if you just planted a bunch grass and you think it needs to be raked, don't do it. Wait a season, at least a season, for it to have nice mature roots in the ground, so that when you're raking it up like this, you don't pull it out of the ground. So that's the main thing. This has obviously been here for a few years. I don't believe it's ever been raked like this. So I think we're pretty confident in the idea that it's not going to pull out by accident. get an idea of how much volume you can remove, if you have a nice shot of this, here is a pile of what we just raked out. This is all from that. So another good reason, always to make sure that when you set your tools down, make sure that they are face down so you're not stepping on them, especially while you're making a small film, instructing people so you don't accidentally step on it. The other reason why we stress of knowing how big a plant gets, this gets 3 to 5 feet across and 3 to 5 feet tall with 7-foot tall flower stalks. Obviously right below this kind of a shrub, the flower stalks will always be in the walkway. So that might not have been a good idea here, or it might not have been a good idea for having this so close to that. But the other thing is, you see what I just found? This was obviously a shrub that was planted beside the deer grass. And there's another one in the back. Both are now pretty dead because they were covered up by the deer grass. So you have to be aware of your spatial limitations when planting plants. If something is going to get 3 to 5 feet wide, allow it that 2 feet, 2.5 feet before the next plant that you planted beside it. So what do you think, Lori? Do you think we're done with this?
Yeah, it looks much better.
And that's how you maintain a native bunch grass in Southern California. You rake it to remove the dead volume so that you have a beautiful plant left. And now it will be encouraged and invigorated by the activity you just did, and all of the new growth will be able to grow through. It really limits the growth if you leave the dead material in amongst it. You have to remember, in habitat areas, it's being eaten by larger herbivores. And so it would not necessarily have become impacted by the dead material like you saw here, because different animals would be eating it. Or if it's like deer grass is normally located in riparian areas, floodwaters would take a lot of that material away. So the plant itself wouldn't be hindered by its own dead growth, the dead material built up, and the new growth would be able to come in no problem. So now we've cleaned that up. It'll grow quite quickly, and it'll be much more attractive, taking a lot less space. Once again, my name is Reginald Durant. I'm the Director of Restoration at Back to Natives Restoration, and thank you for joining us here at Susanna Bixby Bryant Museum and Botanic Gardens here in Rio Berlinda, the original home of the Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Gardens before they moved to Claremont. And once again, the camera person today is Lori Whalen, our Director of Education. Say hi, Lori. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you out at a volunteer event with Back to Natives Restoration.